Uh-oh.
7 minutes.
Oh shoot, we are live. You might
we
hear
on the
people
internet?
coughing, but we don't actually have coronavirus, I swear.
Not
But
yet.
but this podcast is going to be a virus to you because you're not going to be able to get our sweet, sweet melodic voices out of your head, because today we're going to be talking about the one, the only topic that everyone has on their mind right now. That's right. Cute girls doing post-apocalyptic things. There's a lot of anime that deal with this, surprisingly. And of course, I'm your host, Face Steel Taylor, and this is the Our Anime Podcast. Whether you're a long-time listener or first-time caller, we're happy to have you here, especially in this time of self-isolation and gathering around here on the internet. Just imagine I'm by a fireplace, except, it's like late March, early April, so it's starting to get a little warm, so I don't think I actually want to be by a fireplace. But I do want to be near the amazing people I have with me, starting off with my amazing co-host and current member of the podcast. I guess you will always be a current member of the podcast until like Corona gets you. Cinerus, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, you say current member of the podcast. That's getting me a little bit nervous.
It's a death flag, It's we're talking about post-apocalyptic
foreshadowing.
things. We need a death flag or two.
But I am currently doing just fine.
Nice. That's awesome to hear.
Takes up
what's-
to 14 days to see symptoms, they say.
It's true.
Well, if we do these weekly podcasts, we might hear you by week 3 or 4. We'll see.
Yeah, if my voice gets scratchier and scratchier from podcast to podcast, you'll know what's
It
going
actually does. You're really committing to the bit. And we also have someone who is well versed in self-isolation and hiding from public, and that is, of course, the famous AniTuber and wonderful human being and pro Animal Crossing New Horizons gamer, hiding in public. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I can explain to anyone, anytime, how to put flowers around your base.
This is a Animal Crossing reference?
Yeah, in Animal Crossing, yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's just
in
outside.
your real life base that you build with your hands.
Okay. See, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, like I'll break out my guitar, I'll break out my bass, I'll put like some flowers around my bass.
Yeah, how to
Yeah.
furnish your treehouse.
Exactly, your magic treehouse. And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Urban the Myth. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I have a Modelo, not a Corona, so
Ooh.
it's pretty epic.
It is. You know what else is epic? That's right. It's our friends over at Sentai Filmworks and High Dive who are so amazing and sponsoring this series of episodes and pretty much most of the things we do on the podcast these days. Thank you again to Sentai Filmworks. They are the premier North America licensing company of anime, bringing over Blu-ray box sets, DVDs, merchandise, posters, skate decks, hoodies, literally anything you want, you name it, they have it. They have it on sale. Go check out their website, sentaifilmworks.com, to check out their complete collection. And if you're like, well, like right now, I just want to be able to watch stuff without having to like deal with, ordering stuff or seeing people, don't worry. They've got you covered, because you can also check out all their anime on highdive.com, the amazing anime streaming service available on Apple and Android devices on your laptop at highdive.com, on the Xbox and on the Roku. They have amazing collection of anime, from subtitled to dubbed airings to like seasonals, like Bloom Into You recent. Actually, Bloom Into You was a year ago. I keep saying Bloom Into You like it was recent.
It's always fresh in our minds and
it
fresh
is.
in our hearts.
It's always blooming in my mind.
Yes.
It's spring,
It's blossoming.
It's spring.
It's spring.
It's almost spring.
It is almost spring. Alas, Spring Song has gone delayed. But in case you want some more Fate goodness, they also have Fate Stay Night, the Dean version, as well as Fate Prisma Ilia. They also have anime that we'll be talking about today, from High School of the Dead to Girls Last Tour to School Live to Humanity Has Declined, and everything in between. So definitely check them out. If you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, that anime sounds kind of cool, which hopefully it does, you can always go to highdive.com, and if you sign up using the link below, it's highdive.com/LP/RA2020, you can get started today with your first month of High Dive for free. So that's 30 days of HD streaming anime at your fingertips, dubbed, subbed, even uncensored sometimes, for free. So without further ado, with all of that out of the way, if you want to consider that the apocalypse, this is the post-apocalypse part. So let's talk about these anime, because a lot of people know about like K-On!, Nonnon Biori, Is the Order a Rabbit, those kinds of cute girls doing cute things. But today we're talking about cute girls doing post-apocalyptic things, which seems a little appropriate given the state of the world right now. Although I don't think we're at the post-apocalyptic part yet. We might be pre-apocalyptic.
Soon we will all be moe girls in a post.
Soon.
They're the only ones who ever make it.
That's true. I mean, no, sometimes. Well, let's start off with High School of the Dead, because that actually has a guy in it.
Okay. I have another example that has a guy in it, but go on.
Is it Taromaru?
No, that's. I mean, technically yes, but that's not what I'm
the dog. So, who here has seen High School of the Dead?
I need to. I'm an edgy apologist too. So like,
I know,
it's
Urban.
really
I
bad
think
that I
that'd be
haven't
right
seen
up
it.
your alley.
Yeah, no, I plan to. I just haven't gotten around to it.
This
I
is
really
Killing
want to,
Panic, who's hosting it right now, because I'm sure he wants to talk about it.
Edgy enthusiast.
Hiding, have you seen it?
Yeah, Sinris, I'm really curious to hear your opinion.
I haven't seen it.
What? Oh man,
Has Taste seen it?
I have seen it. Actually, I was
sick.
I was a huge fan of the manga growing up as a kid when I was like 12, 13 years old, because it had like guns and death and boobs and like literally what else would I want as a 13-year-old? Like, it was perfect for me. It's so much fun. It's like really dumb humor and it makes no sense whatsoever. And it's like the perfect, like, think like of a B movie if it was a zombie anime TV series.
That's why I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's like so campy. Like my favorite part, and like a lot of people have seen this meme, is like the one meme of like the guy who's like using a girl's chest as like cushioning as he's shooting a machine gun.
Oh yeah, it's a sniper actually.
Oh,
you have the bullet time that goes like
through the boobs.
Oh yeah, it was the
Yeah. That's the only scene I have seen.
Yeah, and like it
That is, like,
goes
the
through
scene.
her
That
through
is
her
pretty legendary.
through
Yeah.
her boobs, and so like they calculated how fast her boobs would have had to have been moving for the bullet to pass through at that exact time. It's very great. I think that's actually the perfect indicator of the show.
Yeah, if you watch that scene, you're like, "This is awesome," then watch it. I'm sure it's good. I don't know. I need to watch it.
It's all on High Dive, so if you sign up today using the URL highdive.com/LP/RA2020 in this time of self-isolation, you could get started tonight even.
The perfect opportunity.
The perfect
Literally, what
opportunity.
else do you have going on?
Exactly.
Although if you have to start something tonight, probably be one of these other couple that are on the list.
That's
I'm not
true
sure
because
when we're getting to them. But
exactly. Because while sometimes you want to have something that's like really campy and gory and bloody like High School did that, sometimes you really want to emphasize the cute girls part. And one anime I do want to address, because I'm not quite sure why it's on this list, is School Live. I watched the entire series and I don't understand the post-apocalyptic part of it. It's like,
yeah, it's a really peculiar example.
yeah,
I don't know what it's doing here either.
I don't know how it got added to this. Like, everyone's just having a good time in school. I love the school living club. Who wouldn't want to stay over at school? Yuki's great. I love Yuki.
Yeah, who wouldn't like a club whose premise is surviving
at school?
Surviving normally at school, though, with your normal school life, because nothing is strange or odd or wrong or bad in any way. It's all perfectly fine.
All right, guys, we have to drop the meme at some point.
Do we? I went School Live.
At some point.
School Live. For people who don't know, like, somehow, if you've gone like, what is it? It's been 5 years now, I think, since it aired.
Yeah, 2015. I think summer season.
Yeah. So if you've gone 5 years without being spoiled on the premise of School Live, props to you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of what it's notable for, is that it's not exactly as it appears. The first episode is a cool twist setup.
It was so much fun watching that live, like airing. So good.
For you people who have been around longer than me, when that first episode aired, did people know what was happening?
So
from my understanding, people were freaking out. But it kind of just gave it away for anybody that would follow up.
Right, but the marketing before the show started.
The marketing before had nothing to do. So
did not give it away.
The School Live Gakugurashi episode discussion threads will always have a soft spot in my heart. Soft spot, because it was like the first discussion thread airing that I was like actively participating in on our anime. And it was just like so out of left field. And it was kind of fun because I had like a running gag with all, everyone else, where I was like Yuki and I was just like, oh, like everything's fine. Like just talking about like the fun, cute things that are going episode to episode, and not talking about like the very distressing, depressing things that are going on each episode. So I had a bit of that like selective interpretation of every episode. And so it was a lot of fun being able to do stuff like that. And when I was watching the anime, like the whole thread, like no one was really reading the manga at the time, and so like some people have been spoiled on the premise, and like even then some people were like, oh, like this is gonna be a little darker than you expect. And I was like, so I thought like, maybe there's like a murder mystery, or maybe there's like a kidnap. I did not expect the zombie apocalypse to be happening.
Yeah, they do a surprisingly good job of hiding it, but also like leaving a breadcrumb trail. Like there's I don't know if anybody's like scraped back through it besides me, just because I'm an insane person. But
I've watched your video scraping back through it.
Yeah, so you understand. There's an asinine amount of like foreshadowing, like just in the first episode alone.
Yes. Like the window, when she closes the window and just like it's all cracked and you're like, why is that window cracked?
Yeah, like she'll run by the window and like some of the stuff's more obvious than others, but it doesn't exactly tell you what it is. It just lets you know that like, hey, that window's broken. That's weird, right?
Right. And the school, the chalkboard.
See the broken window before she like closes it at the end after the reveal?
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah.
But also in the middle of the first episode.
Yeah, in the middle of the first episode, there's like a moment where they're like running through the hallway, and it kind of like has a close-up shot of her head, and it like moves past, and there's like a broken window behind her. You just kind of like hear wind. There's like a lot of subtle stuff like that, but even then, that's one of the more obvious things. There's like stuff like when they're on the roof. Yeah, the chalkboard too. But like when they're on the roof, if you just look off in the distance, the people like playing like sports or whatever, they're like all hunched over.
Yeah,
you know,
like
there's
walking really like slowly too.
Yeah, it does a good job at masking it, but also like if you scrape back through it, it's really interesting.
That is very
cool. See how much there is.
Every episode, I feel like, actually has a ton of foreshadowing, especially for the things that will come later that you don't even know. Like Sinris, I don't know how far you gone, but like with Mickey's backstory.
Yes, I've seen that.
Mickey's the best.
Oh, Mickey.
What episode?
Ryo Takahashi. I love Ryo Takahashi.
I'm on episode 5.
As a voice actress.
Oh,
as well.
okay. You're on episode 5. You're on a special episode.
Oh, that's a good one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's leading up to good stuff.
Got it.
The ED for, was it episode 6? Or is it 5? The Mickey ED, the French one. No, it's not French. It's in English.
Where they have the because
the black and white one.
Yeah, they have like 3 ED songs. Technically, it's like probably 2 ED songs, and then like one special episode. They have like we hold each other's hands thing.
I've never felt this way. Oh, it's such a good song.
It's a really nice song. There's if anybody cares to, I use this in my videos quite a bit, or have in the past. But there's a song by Aces to Aces, a fellow YouTuber who makes like just a lot of EDM tracks and stuff that uses that as its like sample. It's really nice. I think it's called Hope. Anyway, good song.
I'm curious about that.
Cool mix of that. You probably heard it hiding.
It's a good song for a good show because like I feel like this show with this premise like had no business being as good as it was.
Yeah, I am definitely enjoying it more than I expected to.
The production is really like the most impressive aspect. Not even
directing is so good.
Yeah, the directing is
so
excellent.
sick.
It's like not even the crazy animation or anything. The animation is just kind of like fine. Like I mean, I'd say it's like above standard, but it's just the amount of detail that went into each like scene and everything is really great.
Yeah, I would suggest anybody that if you're picking the show up, and like some of it will be obvious because there are some shots that look like amazing, but generally a lot of its like shot composition is like it's based in a lot of like it makes it feel really grounded. So maybe it's not exactly obvious what's happening there. I would just say scrape back through a couple of shots to see if there's like something you're missing, because there is a lot that it just kind of hides from you.
It's hiding in public.
Exactly. That is exactly what it's doing. I am curious what you think so far, Sinris.
Well, I'll tell you one way in which it subverted my expectations.
Okay.
That, contrary to what I thought going into it, School Live is not the same show as Data Live. So I kept wondering when Kurumi was going to like get her clock eye.
Yeah, no, wrong Kurumi and wrong Live.
It's actually more like Love Live, you know.
Because all I knew about it, I didn't know it was a zombie apocalypse. I just knew it was like an hidden apocalypse story.
Oh, interesting. So you didn't get spoiled for 5 years about it?
Well, I mean, I got spoiled enough to know that it wasn't just like a cute show. But I didn't know like the nature of what was going to happen. So I was like, oh, so I guess like whenever, whatever facade is behind the school falls away, then like this girl who's in her club is going to like be revealed to actually be this crazy, horrifically over-designed psycho killer, whatever. I don't know.
No,
didn't do that.
It's a very wholesome show for how dark it is. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But I am liking it a lot. It's got a couple things that I think are like a little eye rolly.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan of how like the presentation of pretty much everything that's happened so far has been like, why am I blanking on the main character's name?
Yuki.
Yeah. Oh, Yuki has this idea that's obviously like not grounded at all in reality. Let's do something like insanely dangerous and life-threatening just to humor her.
They do address that, which I feel like
yeah.
It's an interesting thing where it's like it's not quite show don't tell, but it's kind of like they feed you like little bits and pieces.
Okay.
Until like it's all resolved, because like they have like they kind of have like a flashback framework story going on.
Yeah, I really like that. That structure
Yeah.
is excellently done.
Another thing is part of the reason. Sorry, Urban.
No, go on.
Another thing with like how they treat and do different things around Yuki whenever she has this kind of issue is kind of addressed later, as they were saying. But specifically, they disagree, like as a group, how to properly deal with Yuki's situation. Some of them are like, we need to force her to face reality, and some of them want her to kind of get there on her own, like just like keep doing the normal things that they do, and hopefully she'll come back. She has moments where she, breaks that. She breaks out of it for a few moments and just like flips out.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that already, like when they're in the library. But she didn't really like flip out, but it was definitely like clear that she had like a little bit of understanding of what was happening. She wasn't like totally in denial.
There's definitely consciousness at work there for sure.
Yeah.
You know who's the real MVP in the library and throughout the whole show? That's right. It's Megune Sensei.
I've actually got a question about her.
I love Megune.
Who is Megune?
She's a cool teacher.
She's the best teacher, Heidi.
I don't remember seeing her whenever I watched the show.
Hiding! She's the greatest teacher. Best teacher. She's like an older sister, but we have to call her Megumi Sensei and not Megune. She's trying her best. She's doing a really good job. She's the best teacher and the advisor of the school living club.
I don't remember seeing a teacher.
Hiding! I'm going to go over to where you are. You better keep hiding in public.
He's gonna remove you from hiding and put you actually in public.
I know Urban understands the joke I'm making.
No, of course.
Well, it's not exactly very subtle.
I feel like everyone does.
But wait.
All I was gonna say before Hiding started doing what he's doing now, because he brought up the framework of like how it tells its story and that it's like in two spaces of time. There's a video by Pause and Select who I think, if not my own, if I could stroke for a second, it's probably the best Gakko video as far as like analysis content goes, if not one of mine. But his video specifically addresses that framework and like why it works. It's cool because like it introduces you to like how the characters are, so it gives you an idea of what their personality is, and then it explains where they were before that point, and you just kind of left to fill in the gaps, which is like it's sort of like character development without actually putting it there. So it's like you actually get, at least I do, a lot of people I know do, get attached to the cast really fast because of that framework.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's a cool way to tell the story. There's also just kind of go on about thematics for a second. There's like a sense of like nostalgia to the series. A lot of the imagery is very like looking back on things, photographs, drawings. It's framed in like this like school setting. It's essentially like having you look back in the same way that the characters might be, because they're kind of stuck in that state. So that's another cool thing about that. I could just go on forever though. Go on, someone please.
I mean, look, I love the manga too. I loved the ending to the manga. It was good.
Yeah, it was really satisfying to reach. I have my own issues with the manga personally, but I think it's good. It's good regardless.
As much as I like the manga, I do think the anime is better.
Yeah, same.
Especially how it handles the end of the anime compared to the corresponding scenes in the manga.
Yeah, from my understanding, and the anime is very different than the manga in many ways, just in how it's structured. It feels like a final draft in a sense. But their plan was to reach like the thematic conclusion in the anime, but still leave off like the possibility for a second season if they wanted to go into that, or if they were able to. And when the end of the manga came out, that theory was confirmed because reaches the same sort of thematic point.
Right.
Would you recommend then like reading the end of the manga for people who have seen and
manga,
like the?
Yeah, I would recommend reading the manga because there's like it's just very different. That's what I think is cool about it is if you're interested in sort of seeing like the thought processes, there's also a lot of stuff that just contextually does not happen in the anime.
Right.
That happens in the manga. So there's a lot that's there. You get a lot of extra information as well. For if you think there's like loose ends by the end of the anime, the manga will likely answer those loose ends.
Like The Cure.
Mm-hmm.
The cure to
Stuff like that.
cuteness, because oh my goodness, I'm gonna get diabetes. These girls are so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Drink the water. A bottle of water.
I also really like for me personally, it was really cool because on a side note, like I think most people would agree that as amazing as Yuki is, I really think like Miki kind of like brings the cast together.
Is the best character? Yeah, I agree.
That's Heidi's favorite character for sure.
I love her too because she's voiced by the amazing Ria Takahashi. And Ria Takahashi, like it was so cool, like in 2015 to see her rise, going from like Audio-kun in Shirobako to Soregaseo to Gakugarashi, and then same year like going to Fate Grand Order.
Yeah, well, she's also like Takagi-san and Megumin.
Takagi-san and Megumin and Emilia in ReZero.
Yeah, she's just tons. Like she's really goat. She's goat out there.
She like that. She hit that. She did not flatten the curve. That was an exponential growth.
But yeah, so like she's one of my favorites as well.
Yes, she's great. And like my favorite role of hers is as Mashu in Fate Grand Order. So I really appreciate that she's also a bob cut kohai.
I just want to add, just because there's another link here. The voice actress for Yuki is Minase Inori.
And I love Inori, and she's Rem.
She's Rem in ReZero.
Exactly.
So there's a connection there too. So if you're like, wow, Rem has the best voice ever.
Well, exactly.
Too.
And like Yuki,
think Amelia has the best voice ever. It's here too.
It's here too.
If you like ReZero, even though they're entirely different shows, if you like ReZero,
ReZero is a lot cuter than this show. Like ReZero is a lot happier than this show.
I only found this out though because of Somali. That's Yuki as well.
Oh, Somali is so
Somali,
cute.
yeah. So I forget the full name of the anime, but
Somali the Forest Spirit.
Yeah. Somali the character is Yuki as well. That's how I found out.
I actually did not know
Somali reaction images.
I normally don't look too much into VAs. Someone pointed out to me. I think it was Jack. Shoutouts to Jack. Boy.
Jack is boy. But yeah, like this cast is like so good. Like they deliver such like to be able to navigate both the moe sides and like the more darker sides like so equally well. I feel like it needs to be pointed out how good of a job they did with the VA, with the voice acting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's for School Life. You can definitely check it out on High Dive. It's amazing. And the box set, I think we mentioned it, if not earlier, during this podcast. We definitely mentioned it in the pre-roll. Like, guys, I wish you could have heard our pre-roll conversation because, like, we weren't even live and we were shilling Sentai Filmer.
Yeah.
Hey, I've just been like hanging out with you in your apartment, and you start shilling Sentai Filmworks.
Yeah, like you're just over, and you're like, oh, like I like. I'm like, yeah, so like, that box, Nozaki box set there, that I got from Sentai Filmworks.
No, every box set I own has come from Sentai Filmworks.
And the School Live box set is really
Please
good.
Sponsor hiding Sentai Filmworks.
Yo, just by being on this podcast, you're an automatic honorary Sentai Squad member and a High Dive homie.
Sentai Squad.
Sentai Squad.
But yeah, no, the Gakko box set comes with a lot of really cool stuff because
that booklet is really sick.
It comes with like a diary that has like the outside, and then on the inside it has like screenshots from like each episode and stuff like that. Character designs, like in all their different outfits and different poses and stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah, there's also just some like notes from the. I'm not sure if it was the director, like the original
director.
creator.
Yeah.
But a few people. There's a lot of cool details in that booklet that I found out.
They flesh out a lot more of the story and the world as well, which is really nice. And like,
I literally don't even own a Blu-ray player. I have this and the Girls' box set.
Well, I have a PS4, so I just play my Blu-rays
Exactly.
on there.
I need to get a Blu-ray player.
You
And
get
in
a
case-
PS4.
I just want also people at home to listening to know, like, all High Dive said was like, talk about the URL you have. They literally have not told us to talk about the box set, but like the box set is just that good that we like. You should definitely check it out. And
Oh,
this
yeah.
next one is also on High Dive and is a personal favorite of at least one, I think several of us on this podcast, and that is.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like someone actually made like a video about this recently that was really quite good, and it is of
What could that
course
have been?
none else than Girls Last Tour.
Mhm.
Good show.
Heck yeah.
Good
I'm
show.
so glad that video did well. Like almost no videos on the show have done well, and it sucks because it's such a good series. The manga is amazing. Tsukumizu, the author, is like fantastic, and the anime adaptation was really great.
Their style is so cool. The anime brings so much too, just in terms of like vocal performance, the setting. It's so sick.
The Rain song.
The Rain song is the best thing ever.
So good.
Well,
So if someone
I like the
were-
drunken singing song a lot.
the drunken-
Yeah, that's good.
Speaking of which, cheers.
cheers, but we'll drink to that. So if anyone, just in case anyone's listening to this podcast, they're coming across and they're like, I have no idea about Girls Last Tour. What happened to their previous tour? Hiding, do you want to give us a little bit of
They've taken a lot of
background?
tours.
They've taken a lot of tours.
Yeah, it's a documentation of all their tours, and this just happens to be the last one.
Exactly.
Mhm.
One last ride.
Can I watch Girls Last Tour without watching Girls First Tour?
Girls'
You
first
can.
tour, just like
Oh my God.
babies.
So Hiding, how would you sell this to someone who is like just coming across their podcast? They're like, I like you girls, I guess, but I don't know about the post-apocalyptic stuff, or
Oh,
don't know
well-
anything about Girls Last Tour.
Well, the way that all the people in my comment section kept describing it, because of the way that the world is built up in Girls Last Tour, is it's basically like Blame, but without the body horror and like gore.
Or the Blame.
BLAME. It's like a historic manga. It's like a
Mhm.
huge philosophical manga
Mhm.
that's talking about like. Well, that's basically what it is. So, Girls Last Tour is focused around two girls who are essentially, not quite, but essentially the last living human beings, and they are looking to regroup and hopefully get with whoever might still be alive. That's their whole
Woo.
goal. So it's every episode they're going through different things. They'll meet like one person here, or they'll meet like a robot, or they'll meet in the manga and artificial intelligence, and it teaches them something about like purpose and meaning, and like what makes a meaningful life, and what like gives purpose for people. And it's really cool because the whole time you've got Chito and Yuri, which are the two main girls, and Yuri is very like, I don't care about anything, like I'm having a relaxed life, I'm just
I
gonna
want
enjoy the
food.
moment type of meme. I want food. I like this fish. Let me
I
eat the
like
fish.
food. I like
Potatoes.
food and drawing. I can't read.
And then I can't read. Literally, she can't.
I can't read.
But then
I
Chito
can't
is
eat both.
really concerned about like preserving her legacy, and so like every day she has this little diary, so she writes in it so that if something bad does happen to them, then she still has this diary, and the people she runs into, she writes about them. It's sort of like she's leaving a legacy, and so it goes into like a lot of like what it means to sort of be alive, what makes life meaningful. And each of the different stories that you run into with these characters kind of tell you something, but it isn't boring. They don't like bash it over your head. They aren't like preaching to you or anything.
It is very much a
just-
cute girls doing cute things show.
Mhm.
Most of the time, it is like it's in that setting, obviously. So
Mhm.
they're gonna do things that aren't like they're not fucking making crafts, but
yeah.
it's
they
handled
find
in a
some beer
similar
and they
way.
get drunk and dance together, or
Yeah.
it starts snowing or starts raining, and then all the little tins starts getting hit. Like it's definitely very cute. It's
Mhm.
not like it's as heavy as you want it to be, essentially.
Yeah,
If
that's a good
you-
way of putting it.
I think out of all the, I'm not sure because I haven't seen everything, obviously, but I think out of all the things that we might be talking about today, I feel like Girls Last Tour, is like the most like fun and relaxing to watch. You know what I mean? At least the
Yeah.
anime.
It's a lot more like atmospheric and quiet. There's a lot less
Yeah.
like haha,
It's very,
funny
like
cutaway
Yashika.
gags.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to contrast
It's also just not very brutally dark. Like
Exactly.
it's dark, but it's like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's not like anything shocking.
It's like a depressacino instead of
there's
a
nothing
depresso.
visceral.
Yeah, it's like I think the heaviness of the show comes through the fact that like as you're watching it that their time is limited because they are like the only people left in this city they're traveling through, and eventually they're going to run out of food or they're going to run out of gas,
or they'll
and
make it to their goal and everyone will be happy at their goal. There'll be a wonderful little civilization waiting for them,
but
and they'll be super happy. Read the manga.
Even if you want to be like optimistic about it, they don't have a goal. It's not like one of these things where we've heard rumors there are survivors on like the top layer of the city, so let's get up there and find out.
To just reach the top.
Yeah, right. They're just like, let's just go to the top because
and hope there's something there.
Maybe there's there's something there. And
is the One Piece at the top?
Yeah,
that's what it was the whole time. It explains
in their backstory that like because whenever they're like really young or whatever, like before their thing starts, it's in one of the later chapters, but I think it was adapted into the anime.
I think they showed clips of it, but they didn't really go into like.
Yeah. Oh, what talking about?
But they did say that like everybody's trying to regroup at the top, and so like that's why they're going up there.
Oh, I
don't know if there's people up there.
Okay.
It's that they've been told that everybody went up there, but you're kind of uncertain. When we get there, have all those people died? Did all those people get there at all? So it's.
Will they get there?
Will they get there?
To be fair, I think it is literally mentioned that one time.
Yeah. Also.
I mean, the whole manga is like 40 chapters.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
It's very short. It's really easy to read.
The most important thing for me when watching this anime, so I have a really simple, how to say, like, am I going to like this anime or not scale? And really, I just ask myself one question, and if it's yes, like I'm obviously going to like it. If it's no, well, then I have to go down the flowchart to see whether I like it. But anyway, the most pressing question to me whenever I watch a new show is, do they dab in the opening? And so far, all my years of watching anime, Girls Last Tour is the only one where they actually dab in the OP. So like, you gotta give it props for that.
It's the only show to pass the litmus test.
It is.
The only good anime, according to
the only good anime. Girls Last good anime. Girls Last dab.
Girls Last dab.
Yeah,
I do think though. Earlier we were saying like, oh, it's a lot more relaxing than all the other.
There's some tension-filled moments.
Well, I have to say, while it is really relaxing, I think it is the most dark out of any of the other. Like, I mean, I guess I haven't seen all of them, but of the two that we've already talked about, the Girls Last Tour. I mean, even without spoiling the manga, at the end of the series, the sort of alien white mushroom creatures, like omnipotent creatures that they run into, not spoiling anything, they pretty blatantly set out like, hey, this is what's going on, and it is not a happy, like, it's like very
okay. All I was saying is there's nothing like necessarily like visceral or shocking. It is very dark.
There's not really like body horror,
but it never really feels that way until you get till you like really think about it.
Yeah, I think most of the tension in the show comes from the conflicts between Cheeto and Yuri, because while they are obviously like totally reliant on each other because they're the only things either of them have left, and they have different skill sets that are both necessary for survival, they also value completely different things. So you get moments like
the fire,
like the fire.
God, that had me at the edge of my seat.
Yeah, and then also stuff like I think maybe the most unsettling moment in the whole show is when they come across like the wreckage of the giant death robot, and Yuri just like starts like firing missiles out into the city and like laughing her ass off as she destroys it.
And you're like, oh.
And Cheeto's just kind of like horrified.
Yeah, right.
Why you just let it?
Yeah.
Like it almost sounds like a comedy scene, but it's not treated like one.
No.
Well, it's the kind of thing where like I think they nailed the atmosphere where, depending on whether you as a viewer are more like Cheeto or more like Yuri, the scene can be interpreted different ways.
Mhm.
Like I am personally of the type who's like watching that and like, oh man, this is like low key really fucked up. But I could
Yeah.
also totally understand someone watching it and being like, this is really funny, like the way that Yuri's reacting to all of this.
It's like she's reacting to like fireworks. Like she doesn't know that
right.
destruction is like meaningful in any way. Even if it is.
And then of course there's the scene in the first episode when they find the chocolate bar, the ration store.
Mhm.
It's like
She pulls out
actually
the
the
gun
most
on her.
tense scene. And there's
Yeah. and Yuri, they're going to split it, and then Yuri like holds Cheeto at gunpoint in order to finish eating it herself.
Well, it's like it was clearly like a bit they're doing, and then whenever she starts actually eating it, Cheeto's like, "Wait, what? No, you're actually eating it?"
Yeah.
Because-
And then they fight and they pass out, and it's
yeah,
really
she starts
happy.
beating her. She
Right.
starts punching her in the face. But it's
That's
all,
like
it's all
actually
fun,
one of
but
my
they don't-
favorite things about Girls Last Tour is the fact that they beat the shit out of each other. Well, mostly
They do,
Cheeto
yeah.
and Yuri.
But it's
But-
like a friendship thing. It's
Yeah.
not like they're really mad at each other.
No,
It's very-
it's like an intimacy thing, like when animals
Mhm.
play. Like
Well-
that's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
also really like the fact that like we're all under quarantine or supposed to be like quarantine, self isolating right now,
Yeah.
and like you can kind of get sick of the same people that you're seeing for day after day
Yeah.
after day,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so like you're
Like
kind of
I love Yuri, but I feel for Cheeto.
yeah, like I would go insane. Like if I was like
I would fucking
there's-
lose it.
There's literally no one else in the world besides me and this fucking idiot.
That's so good.
Ah, man, like what if I killed myself, I will be eliminating 50% of the population. Is that like
That's a heavy
murder?
burden. It's a heavy burden.
But one I'm willing to take.
Oh,
Sacrifice.
Girls Last Tour has one of my favorite OSTs ever. By the way, it's so good.
It's really good.
So good.
Like not even just like the rain song or like the OPED. Like those aren't necessarily OST. It's like it's a technicality thing, but the OST itself, in addition to that, is really really solid. Like it has this like sort of like breathy open feel, but it's also very ominous. But at the same time, there's a lot of tracks that are very like just optimistic in their tone.
Mhm.
It's really nice.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah, and that's what makes the show so pleasant is that despite its like constant pervading atmosphere of tension and utility, and the fact that like every background is always like huge and looming and decrepit, the show overall has a really upbeat, like hopeful tone to it.
Mhm.
It's that kind of like emotional disparity between what you're watching and what is the inevitable end game of the story that really makes it such a uniquely powerful experience.
Mhm.
I'm not
That's
sure if they
true.
make this how clear they make this in the anime, but in the manga, I think you see it represented in the anime as well. But I'm not sure how clearly they just like spell it out for everyone.
Yeah.
Something I really like that Girls Last Tour does though is a lot of time they are intentionally turning their head away from the depressing realities in front of them, or
Mhm.
intentionally making light or making jokes.
Yeah.
And it makes the whole show seem lighthearted, but then you sort of realize like a lot of people who live in more kind of intense, like I remember when I was taking one of my psychology classes, it's very often that people who work in morgues have really dark senses of humor because it's the way that people naturally cope with that
That's how you
sort of
deal with that stuff.
Right.
and so it makes that clear like later in the show, and more explicitly in the manga, that like they are like even Yuri, even big doofus Yuri is taking in all this sort of stuff that's happening, but she's sort of out of her power and out of her control, and they have to choose the levity in order to keep themselves happy. something really early on in the show. They meet like a guy who makes maps. It's like in the first 3 episodes, I think. First, maybe the second episode.
It's either second or third, I'm pretty sure.
And one of the things she says to him after they decide to part ways is she basically tells him, like, it isn't so much that you're doing these actions, for a goal, but even if you just have a little bit of happiness in whatever task you're doing, then it makes it worth it.
Yeah.
And gosh, Girls Last Tour, it just like it hits you at random points. It's like,
Yeah. I think Girls Last Tour, what it gets across pretty well is, I've confused this with optimism before, but I don't think it's like optimism. It's more just acceptance and finding the beauty in that. It's like being content with how things are.
Peace in chaos. What?
That sounds like a great title for a video.
but yeah, it is very much that. And what I think is cool about, well, these shows in particular, they're both in my top 5. This and the last one we just talked about, Gaku Garashi. But what I like about this like sort of setup, since it's post-apocalyptic, but you have these moe characters and sort of like a lighthearted feel a lot of the time, is it like if you apply their reality to our own, you can kind of just like pick ways to interpret like life and how to approach it in a way to gain the most like happiness out of it, I guess. Because sometimes reality is just bad and out of your control. So
we're seeing that right now.
You need to find avenues of hope, avenues of happiness. Just you need to be able to cope with that. And I think this sort of setup is really good for that. There's really only one other show that's going to be coming up that, if nobody else has seen, I'll at least bring it up. But in this sort of genre. But I think it's a really cool genre. Like it's a really cool setup, and you can get a lot out of it, like thematically, like that.
Yeah. I think if anyone listening to this is, starting to feel anxious about the current state of what's going on in the world and all of this, I think that out of all the shows we're talking about, maybe out of all of the shows I've ever seen, Girls Last Tour is definitely the one I would most recommend to like help cope with this kind of atmosphere in the world right now.
Yeah, I would recommend both.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. You know what's also good stuff about Girls Last Tour?
That's
It's the box set from our friends over at Fireworks, which I think we all have. I have it.
I got it.
I got it.
It's the only box set of anything I own.
Yeah, we got it for your birthday present last year at Anime Boston.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, we got you.
Rip Anime Boston.
I just grabbed it out of my closet. I'm perfectly fine to talk about this. It is amazing. Oh, let me tell you.
All right, Heidi, give us a like audio unboxing of this amazing.
You
box.
really
All
want?
right, so here's the
really want
box.
Sentai
Let me
sponsor.
do a little ASMR real quick.
Ooh.
It's a very nice quality. It's very like smooth. It's not just like a shiny plastic. It's very matte. It's one. Why am I doing this? Okay,
keep going. You committed to it.
It's got
need the sponsorship.
it's my favorite box set I have. But basically it comes with a storyboard booklet that shows the storyboards for literally every frame of the first episode, and like all the like notes that are written for each of them. Of course, they're all in Japanese, not translated, but it's like scanned, so it's not like, it's like you see every little sketch, every little detail. Super cool. And then it comes with a special booklet. That's what it says on the front. I'm out of breath.
Yeah, literally special booklet.
And it's got like all the characters. Once again, it's kind of like the Gakko box set. They have all the different characters and like all their facial expressions and directions of like how they're looking in the show and the outfits and all that stuff. It's wonderful. And then that's not even it. They have a ton of stickers, which, to be honest, I don't care about stickers at all. I don't care about the stickers.
Oh, the dog tag.
But it comes with a dog tag. Yes, that's the last thing.
I actually wear that
because it's like a war setting, right? Like Girls Last Tour. I mean, even though the implication is kind of English, it's not really in the Shoujo Shu Matsui Ryoko. That's not really like a war kind of implication, I don't think, because Ryoko just means basically a trip or a journey.
The imagery is very warlike, though.
The English tour very much fits with the aesthetic that it's like a war kind of setting. They're in the war clothing throughout the series. They're driving in a Kettenkrad
Like a little
from Soviet Russia, and so it's like it's very like warish themed. So having like a dog tag with the girls on it is just really cool. Anyways, I don't have it out of the thing though, because I'm the kind of person who doesn't open. I mean, I opened it, right? But I opened it. Mine is still sitting inside. I want it to stay perfectly preserved.
I feel that. And also,
you opened it. There goes all the value.
The booklets are really cool too, because there's like so much detail throughout all of it. I've really been enjoying going through it. Like, I really like going through the storyboards because, again, this, like Akugurashi, School Live, both of them are like so well directed. And I feel like it's almost harder to direct a slice of life well than it is to direct like an actiony show well. Like an actiony show, you could like choreograph the fights, right? Like you kind of know how to follow everything around. But with something,
is Kettenkrad German? Sorry, I might have goofed that up. Whatever, World War II.
Sounds German, yeah.
But with something like a slice of life, like in order to like stand out from like, you know, the cookie cutter slice of life anime that are all out there, you have to really nail the tone down. You have to really know and be really deliberate with everything you do. And then you panic for flashing that on screen so all our viewers on YouTube could see what it looks like with the booklet, the dog tag, the dab stickers, and the tank. Yeah, it's a wonderful box set. I'm a huge fan of it. I feel like
I just hardcore sold out, and I didn't even make a penny on that. I just got real passionate about Girls Last Tour because nobody watched it. Everybody needs to.
Hiding's last chill.
First and only, apparently.
Hiding the last video. If he didn't make the Beastars video.
Oh, that's true. But yeah, it's really wonderful. And again, you can stream this entire series on High Dive. Check it out. It's really good, and it's like perfect. Like if you're feeling like, if you want like a nice stew of depresso right now, like a nice venti cup of depresso, like it's perfect for that. It's also like a really good nightcap as well. Like when I was watching it, I really liked leaving it till the end of the day and like watching it before going to sleep, because even though it was like a little unsettling at times, as we talked about, it was also like pretty calming as well.
Yeah, no, I literally watched it as if it was just episodic Yashike. See, like I would get home from work and I'd be like, oh boy, the new episode of Girls Last Tour, and I would watch it.
Oh boy, my new episode of Girls.
And it was just like I would bundle up and be happy because it aired in like winter. Well, I mean fall.
Yeah, it was,
but it was cold.
Right, it was like December. I was like the Azoken like first episode where you have what's first, Asakusa.
Yeah,
like with the mug and like bundle up on the couch.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
that was me watching Girls Last Tour. So yeah, definitely recommend. It was a very comfy, fun show with a lot of cute girls. Actually, just 2 cute girls, but they're very cute, so it makes up for it.
There's a lot of cute in the 2.
There's a lot of cute in the 2 of them,
and they also have a cut.
Be where they, my favorite scene might be the drinking scene. Because
that's a really good one. Yeah.
That's a good one. Oh god, the voice actors did a phenomenal job in that.
Yeah, they drunkenly sing it. It's so good.
It's so good.
Was that the same episode where they're imagining like decorating the apartment?
No, I don't think it's the same episode.
Oh,
that's also a very.
That's one of my favorite moments.
That's a good episode.
Yeah.
But another cute girls doing post-apocalyptic things anime that is also available on Sentai Filmworks and High Dive is Humanity Has Declined. And Sinris, I know this is a big show for you. You've talked about this quite a bit. So why don't you take the floor for a little bit and let us know why exactly do you like Humanity Has Declined so much when, you know, I don't think you want humanity to decline.
Humanity Has Declined is my favorite comedy. It's like feeling like trying to explain why it's good almost feels stupid to me because, you know, it's just extremely fucking funny. And that's pretty much as far as you need to take it. Like the the concept of it is that it takes place in a future timeline where the human population has dropped enormously.
Declined, some might say.
Yes, it has certainly declined, and humans have been replaced as the dominant planet or as the dominant species on Earth by this race of tiny little fairies who have this perpetual. Their faces never change from this enormous doofy grin, and they act as like comedic foils for the main character in that they don't really know anything about the way the world works or anything like that. They just kind of are extremely naive and respond to what's around them in like goofy, adorable ways. And the subjects that the show tackles are about as out there as you can imagine. If anybody has seen the bread scene from the first episode,
it's literally the only scene I've actually seen from it. I need to watch it. I'm surprised I haven't just based on that alone.
So the bread scene happens at the end of the first episode. And what all you really need to know is like up until that point, the show is kind of like slow and not really like not much happens. There isn't a lot to like recommend the first episode, but then in the last couple minutes, the bread scene happens, and the show immediately jumps the shark. And then coming down at the beginning of the second episode, it lands on a second shark and just continues riding a wave of sharks.
There's
all
a
the way
literal
off
shark
over the
as well.
horizon.
There's a literal shark in the factory.
All right,
Yes.
that's actually the best description you can give for it. I haven't seen it. I assume it's accurate.
Yeah, no, it's very accurate.
The colors and like designs are so cute and like nice. I would have never thought this was a post-apocalyptic thing. I 100%
it's
have
like
heard of the show and have seen the show, especially the bread part. I think you're talking about where he rips open his head.
He rips his head open and like the
Tears his head
strawberry jam comes out. Yeah,
No, it's carrot juice.
or the carrot juice. Yes, that's right.
Why is
I
carrot
wasn't actually bread. I was carrot juice bread meant to be consumed by kids so that they could eat their vegetable.
Yeah,
It's a lot less
this
dark
seems
than
to be
Ghost in
like
the Shore.
this seems to be like the least like accurate to the genre based on like aesthetic. Like just from what I'm seeing anyway, it's so bright and cheery and like
Decidedly so. Tay, have you watched it since we last talked?
I've gotten through 8 episodes.
Okay, have you seen the one yet where Watashi becomes the queen of Fairy Island?
No?
Okay, that is the single funniest
What a
episode of
sentence,
anything I
what a
have ever
sentence.
watched. Look forward to that. That is the high point of the entire show. It is unbelievably good.
I really liked the Bakuman arc, as I've been thinking of it, where they talk about manga and how and
the Yaoi Renaissance.
the yaoi renaissance with the doujinshi, where they make a comiket. They're like, wait, we need to evaluate everything that's important in humanity and like for the human culture project. And then they're like, Sawashiro is like, yes, you know what we need to do? We need to hold a yearly fair for all the male yaoi doujinshi for all the female readers to buy and read. That's like the most important thing.
Yeah, preserving serving the most important parts of history.
That's literally what they say. It's not even. That's a real
great.
line.
No, I'm pretty interested just because I recently watched Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, which is not part of this genre at all.
No,
But
also a good
It
show.
is very great. Dark comedy, hilarious. And I get similar vibes just based on that like bread scene.
The bread
You know what I
scene is
mean?
Yeah.
Like just in the sense of like the tone and comedy kind of working the way they do.
Yeah. Zetsubo Sensei is a lot more cynical than humanity has declined, but like it does have a kind of similar way about it of lampooning, you know, what's important to people. I think like the Fairy Island episode in particular is like an amazingly funny critique of just like the way people organize societies and like governments and stuff is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I've only just gone to the one with Oyage and Pion. I thought was really good too. Like it within the comedy, it also lands some like good emotional notes as well.
It's true, yeah.
So in that sense, and like it does do the post-apocalyptic world kind of justice. Also, they say the name of the title in the show. Where,
That's how you know it's good.
Because at one point, when they're in the manga panel trying to boost the popularity of their manga that they're inhabiting, why Sawashiro, who's voiced by Sawashiro, says something like, this is for humanity, and Watashi goes, yeah, but we're in decline right now.
So it does have so what are we, kind of a Suicide Squad moment?
Exactly.
Hell
it
yeah.
has, ironically,
the best part of that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
It's where they say the name of the movie.
These drug dealers
The
present
only
a
good
clear
part-
and present danger. That's why I must be Superman 4, A Quest for Peace. Oh, that's why they call it that. But yeah, it's on High Dive, available through Sentai Filmworks. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. It's a lot of fun. So High Dive. I almost called you High Dive in public.
High Dive in public.
What's up?
High Dive chilling in public.
High
know.
dive. Hey.
Hiding. It sounded like there was an anime that you wanted to talk about that you weren't sure if we would get to, or not
I
sure
think
if we
that
had
was
seen.
Urban, actually.
Oh, Urban. Sorry, Urban. What was the anime you were thinking of?
Oh, it's Kemuri Kusa.
Oh.
It's most people know Kimono Friends.
Yes.
It's the same director, same sort of art style and all that.
Different studio though, right? Because they like fucked over.
Yeah. They
and,
switched
like,
over because Kimono Friends has like a season 2. It's not by the same people,
right?
Or at least not by the same director. So it's like a totally different thing. I haven't seen the first Kimono Friends, but I guess that would qualify as well, as far as cute girls doing cute things in a post-apocalyptic setting. But Kemuri Kusa is much more overt in presenting that. It's more similar to, like, aesthetically, it's more similar to something like Girls Last Tour, where it's like a lot of like run down industrial looking, like stuff. And I will admit, most of my praise for Kemuri Kusa is because I had fun watching it. It looks pretty. I can't detail that much information about it. I'd have to rewatch it to do that. But one thing to just look out for, because this will be a like a problem for a lot of people, is that art style, because it's it's CG and it's not particularly like great CG. There's a lot of like lack of emotion in the face, and it looks very like cheap. That said, it's got some amazing shot composition. The settings are great. Color use of color is fantastic as well. And it's a story about a bunch of cute girls and one boy. This is the one boy I was talking about, by the way. He's the main character. Where they travel around in this little bus that is controlled by a tree. And they fight off these like sort of like polygonal like beasts. They're like robots, I guess. Again, I can't detail that many specifics about it. I just remember that it existed and it qualifies.
Polygonal beasts.
Anyway,
is it polygonal or polygonal?
I think it's polygonal.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's polygamy. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's multiple. There's multiple people. It's actually,
but it's polygon.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Have you been pronouncing it polygon your whole life? Look at this guy. He doesn't even say polygon.
It's Porygon, actually.
I actually don't have too much to say Kemuri Kusa. I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's good and enjoyable.
Yeah. The Porygon Z type of graphics look really great.
Unironically though, look at screenshots from the show. There's some like really nice looking stuff from it.
Ooh.
It's worth at least like a glance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also see, my genre of choice is adjacent to cute girls doing apocalyptical things. It's cute girls suffering, you know, like Madoka Magica and all other stuff like that.
This.
Main
So
Abyss.
you really like the Maho Shoujo Raising Project?
I don't know about that. I did watch.
Let's not go that far. Gotta draw the line somewhere.
The man's
I
got
did-
standards.
I did watch Maho Shoujo's site and enjoyed it, so I don't know how that speaks to my standards, but that was enjoyable for maybe different reasons.
What
but
reason?
yeah,
Well, now I'm curious.
it's
Different reason.
it's very schlocky.
Mm.
Like, it's very fun in that sense. Maho
Flocky's
Shoujo's
a
site.
good word.
Yeah.
Schlocky is a good word.
Like, and that said, though, there's some interesting stuff in there that's like unironically cool. So maybe check it out for that reason. That's not at all what this genre is, though. It's just adjacent to it. But
For
when
some
fighting post-apocalyptic specifically with
Uh-huh.
cute girls doing cute things, I don't know. I guess I thought I saw more than I did.
Yeah. I would also recommend, and I feel like Cindrus is going to fight back on this. One of my favorites, longtime favorites actually. I think I first saw it in like 2014. Is Sora no Moto or Sound of the Sky?
I was going to ask if we were going to talk about that.
Yeah. I feel like it actually is like,
I've been recommended.
yeah, it's one of, I think the first of the ones that like really handles the post-apoc, like cute girls.
Oh,
doing
Kino's
cute
Journey
things.
is another one.
Yeah, Kino's Journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Older. But like Sora no Moto was really interesting because when it came out, like people were like just like bashing on it because they're like, oh, they're just trying to profit off the K-On wave, like by lifting the K-On like art style, which is like, it's kind of similar but not exactly. By
That's
A1
also
Pictures.
not a bad thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
can rip off worse art styles.
That's very true. And it's an original anime with no source material before, and it really does a good, for me, I felt it did a really good job of show not telling with its world building, because like it's set in a world where, you know, everyone's like dead. There was a huge war and people are enlisting, and they're like so desperate for people to enlist that they're even enlisting like middle school, high school age girls to man posts by the border. And they like go through all this military training and they have to defend. And it follows Kanata Sorami, who joins the military in order to play the trumpet. That's all she wants to do. She wants to learn how to play the trumpet and do the bugle calls, and that's it. She sucks. She has never played the trumpet before in her life before signing up for the army.
I was about to say, I thought you liked this show, and then you continued.
She sucks.
And you didn't just cut off at "she sucks."
I think I really like her as a character because she's like the Genki girl who like tries really hard and isn't great at stuff, but like she's got determination and guts, you know? And yeah, like there's a lot to it that they like hint at, like what killed so many people? Why do they have to do like these field exercises? Why do they have like a mecha killing machine in their garage that they're like, oh, these is like from the old people? Why is there like a fossil of like this gigantic like creature in the bottom of the lake that they're stationed next to? What are the angels that they refer to? And like they don't really answer everything because like in the normal course of their day, it wouldn't really be necessary, but they definitely hint at it more and talking about the war that went on and the world they live in now.
No,
Cindrus, what are your thoughts about this?
I went into this show with really high expectations.
I know.
And I thought it was
He's bracing himself.
okay. I thought it was okay. I didn't like the first half. It definitely takes an upward turn around the
Episode
midpoint,
7.
especially towards the end. I was like, whenever there are two major turning points in it. The first one is the episode with the captain's backstory.
Yeah,
whatever number that was. That's
Yeah.
episode 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one where I was like, oh wow, like this is actually really good. And from that point on, although I think that episode was maybe like the high point of the series, the ones
Right.
after it are still better than the ones before it routinely.
What you mean you didn't like the episode where Kanata is like holding in piss the entire time and trying to find a bathroom?
Yo, when I watched the first 3 episodes and then went on Discord to shit talk the show, everyone was like, "Oh, you haven't even got into the P episode yet." And then I got to the episode, and I didn't think it was that bad.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
You want to put tension in your show? Have a character need to go to the bathroom really bad.
Yeah, that's one of the
that
best.
Shit's relatable, yo.
Yeah.
And then once like the plot picks up, once they capture like the enemy spy, I think the show, that's like where it gets legit.
Noel's backstory.
Yeah.
No, like because like before episode 7 where we see how the war played out through the captain's eyes, and like, oh shit, they were like putting like high school kids through this war, and like just seeing how terrifying it all was, like that just put it on a different level for me, and that's when I really got hooked. I also really like the episode where they talk. I keep calling her think of her as Asunyan, even though she's not Asunyan. But she's got the twin tails.
Art style thing.
Yeah. It's the chaos. Yo, like legit the cool, like older, like shy, reserved.
Is she Asusa like, or is
yeah,
she
she is Asusa like.
Okay.
That was so good. That was really good. She like both her parents died in the war, and so she's an orphan. Like everyone in the show is an orphan. Like all the parents are dead. Everyone who went to war is like dead.
Everyone who ever existed is gone except for
except for characters. Like 5 girls. And so
no, that's not true. There's like a whole town of support.
I know, which is really cool. Like the setting is really cool too, because like they took like aspects from like a city in Spain and a city in Italy and like merged them together, and like but anyway, the episode I also really like is talking about like how she like idolizes this one war hero who is like she even has a picture of, and she's like, oh, like he was here, he would have saved everyone, he was amazing, blah blah blah. And she thinks that the guy who does their errands and is the messenger is this war hero, except he's just like a messenger man. He's just like a delivery guy.
Who just like kind of looks similar and happens to have the same name as the guy she idolizes.
Exactly. And like it talks about like, you know, like the people you idol, like what it means to idolize the people who came out of the war, and like hero worshipping, and like wanting to like live up to someone's legacy who you aren't even, but like feeling like you need to because you know, like these kids went through some really traumatic shit. And yeah, I don't know, like it's one of those things where like the longer it's been since I've seen it, the more I feel like I respect it and admire it than I enjoyed it, almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand what you're getting at. I watched a series recently that I had similar feelings. I don't want to say it because I don't want flack. but yeah, I definitely get that. I definitely empathize with
that. Just type it in the Discord chat for it.
Ooh, secret
and we'll
Discord
decide
chat.
whether it's shameful enough to out.
Yeah.
It's probably not that shameful.
We will let the. Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's a good show.
Wait, did he say he didn't like it though? Or
I appreciate it way more than I enjoy watching it.
All right, he's out. The council has decided.
Episode 9 onward is pretty good.
He hates it.
All right, the council has decided to grant you the rank of guest, but not seat you on the council. God,
once
really?
he kills me off.
By the way, just a passing thought. You don't even have to answer it. In the P episode,
oh, we're back to this, are we?
Do they have a climax similar to like the food experiences in Food Wars? Because that'd be pretty cool. That's an idea that needs to be explored if it hasn't been.
I'll have you know, girl holding in pee is like one of the best first arcs of A Sister Is All You Need.
You're not joking.
So anyway,
all you need. What do you mean? Pretty great show.
How about anime?
How about anime?
Oh,
anime is
actually, I came up with something.
Ooh, I want to hear it.
Now I'm not deep into this show, but I think it may like loosely qualify. Like in technical basis, I think it's a girls, and that's Girls in Panzer.
Ooh. We
Okay.
need bacon
Tankery?
on the show. Where's
It's the
bacon?
Tankery show, right? They're like,
Yes.
I remember the first episode I'm watching it, and it's very like closed on like what's going on or why the main character is so adverse and like does not want anything to do with Tankery. And it's set up that like Tankery is this womanly thing. It's that only women do, womanly pride, and it shows your womanhood for like a man, which is so funny, obviously, because that's not even anything close to how people view tanks in our life. But the thing was, I was like kind of mixed on it. I was like, okay, it's kind of interesting. Like characters are cute and nice and whatever. But then at the very end of the episode, they do this zoom out of the school, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then it keeps zooming out, and you see the city, and you're like, oh wow, it's going pretty far. And then it keeps zooming out, and you find out their entire society is on a giant ship in the middle of the ocean. What? So it's like some giant horrible thing has happened to where I think some of them still live on land, but like a good amount of like society just lives on this giant ship because the rest of it's been destroyed. Could be wrong. Once again, I'm not like diehard fan. I haven't actually finished it yet. Just watched the first few episodes. But I think, I mean, it's cute girls doing extreme things. I think it might be a post-apocalyptic setting because they're on a gigantic ship. But yeah, I don't know. That's just like throw my hat in the ring last second. Like here's another one.
We'll hold on to your application and we'll get back to you in the next 14 days. From chat, Moss,
You are on the podcast, but we do not grant you the rank of doing post-apocalyptic things.
Yeah,
yes, more
Friends
prequel memes. Have a seat, young anime. It's like an old anime now.
Yeah.
I have heard good things about the Girls in Panzer movie. So from the chat, Moz says, reminder that World End is GOAT. I think he's referring to something called like Suka Suka, which is like, will you still be there?
Does that count? I've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Does it count?
I guess it counts. Like
people like Genesis Era have like tagged me in it because like they remember me from the Gakugurashi live episode threads, and they're like, oh, you would really like this.
I'd recommend Suka Suka to people. I also haven't like watched it in forever. Like it was before I started my channel, and
it's like 2 years, 3 years.
It's older than that. I mean, maybe it's 2017.
It's like 30 or 40.
I think it's 2017.
Old, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like you know, Astro Boy,
aired in the 70s.
Princess Knight, Suka Suka, ReZero, like all in the same season, like 1967.
Yeah, no, it has. We refer to it as Shuka Shuka or whatever because it has like an asinine, like long name.
Yeah.
That's it, by the way.
World End, what do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Are you okay, Annie?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I just don't remember it that well, unfortunately. To really comment on it. I know I have a fan of my audience that's really passionate about it. So maybe I have to get a watch for his sake to talk to him. And, but yeah.
Panic says, asks, is Azure Lane post-apocalypse? You know, as someone who is a gacha game enthusiast and does play Azure Lane, I have no fucking clue because I don't read the story. I just, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm just collecting this cute shit. Literally all I'm doing with Azure Lane. Every time a cutscene comes up, I just hit skip.
And then Kimono Friends. I mentioned Kamarakusa before, same creator. Kimono Friends is also post-apocalyptic. I just haven't seen it.
Is Kimono Friends post-apocalyptic?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's why they're like half animal, half human. Oh, is Shinsekai Yori post-apocalyptic?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
but is it
Shinsekai Yori is?
I don't know if I don't think I'd count it as a
cute girls doing cute
girls. It just is post-apocalyptic. Now we're just getting into that
post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
Now we're getting into the Technolize is a cute girls doing cute things post-apocalyptic anime because there is a cute girl in it.
I'm telling you, this guy knows. Man is the best.
Oh man,
Technolize is sick, by the way. It's just
Technolize
complete dread to watch. Probably not part of this. Similar feeling.
Ghost in the Shell has a cute girl in the major in Kusanagi.
How do we define apocalypse or post? How do we define
Akira post-apocalypse?
Akira is during apocalypse.
During apocalypse, not post-apocalypse.
Not post-apocalypse.
I mean, the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like where you're sitting at the credit scene, that's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, but then all of the girls are gone.
Yeah.
All the cute girls, rip.
Not the ones in the theater.
Hey, dab. Ooh,
Yeah.
Dab.
Neon Genesis Evangelion has Asuka and Rei and
That's true.
Mari in the
That
rebuilds.
isn't like
Yeah.
that isn't like a sparse like post-apocalyptic setting.
In 2.22, Rei and Asuka are cute girls who do cute things, like try to make food for the boy they like. There's also the
I don't know if we talk about those movies. I don't know. I haven't seen them.
it also has the AU in End of Evangelion, where they're like it's like a school comedy, and like Asuka is the childhood.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rei is like
For one
thing
that happened.
running through the street.
The toast in the mouth gif.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So Neon Genesis Evangelion, really the cute.
You
the
know how
pinnacle
funny
of
it is
cute
to
girls
see
doing
that
cute
gif?
things.
You know how funny it is to see that gif before watching Evangelion, and then you watch it and you watch End of Evangelion, you see it there, and you're like, "Oh, that's what it's from." Okay.
Right, like that GIF that you see is like so misleading. Like you think you're like, oh, like the GIF will be like how the rest of the anime is, and really it's like the end tacked
it's
on as like
literally
an
the
AU
point
thing.
is that it's not like that at all.
Exactly. Oh man,
Oh god.
what a time! But you know what, guys? I want to say that I think this podcast, if it was on Mal, would count as a cute girls doing cute things on a pre-apocalyptic setting.
Yeah, exactly. We'll form a club.
We'll form a club. I forgot
form a
Mal has
club.
clubs.
Yeah.
Oh
Form
man,
a club based around survival.
exactly. We'll call it the School Life Club, the
Yeah.
Pod
Yeah.
Life, the High Dive Live Club.
Pod life.
Pod Life.
Is that like a thing? Can you brand that? Like that is literally like
Ooh.
it's
The
not
Pod
bad.
Living Club.
Hashtag
Life.
Pod Life. You know, doing weekly podcasts like this one, that you can catch next week as well starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's gonna be a radio show. So Cinerus has so kindly volunteered and offered this amazing idea where it's gonna be
I got it
radio
From
recommendation
someone in our
requests.
suggestion box on Discord, but I don't remember who. One sec. I'm gonna give credit.
Where credit is due.
Yep.
Also, as a
So
side
while-
note, we all need to watch Kino's Journey.
We do need to watch Kino Journey.
because that's like one of the ones first thing that came to mind, and
Exactly.
none of us saw it.
No, none of us have seen.
Kino's Journey? I've
Yeah.
seen Kino's Journey.
Oh, does Kino
Oh.
Journey count?
It should, right?
I don't know if it's like explicitly post-apocalypse or whether it's just like
I just know that people draw similarities to it in Girls Last Tour.
yeah, because it's the same sort of like it's a travel narrative where
Okay.
every episode the girls like stumble across something and they learn a lesson about life in society.
Okay.
Kino's Journey is just kind of like a weird world building where the city is divided up into like these very separate, like all people
it's
live
not
in like
totally
different, like separate, unrelated walled cities. It's less like post-apocalyptic and more like it's got kind of like a fairy tale aesthetic to it, where
Oh.
like the character goes and travels from like this one weird location to the next that don't really have any bearing on each other.
But I mean, define post-apocalyptic. I mean,
Post COVID.
there could have been an apocalypse before the reality we're living in.
That's true.
That's true.
No,
And
Look up the
the
dinosaurs.
Also, credit for
collapse
the
block.
idea for next week goes to Collapse Block. Yes.
Yes. Who,
What's the idea
so
for
we're gonna
next
do
week?
radio requests, recommendations. So Sinners is gonna be hosting a radio show. You can call in by joining our Discord by going to the link below in the description, or it's also available on our Twitter. You can sign up and then you can join the Discord call, and we'll be bringing in live callers, and you can talk to us about your favorite anime and trying to recommend it over the airwaves. So really excited for that. Thank you again so much to Hiding in Public and Urban the Myth for coming on to this podcast on such short notice too. But I'm really glad you guys were able to get on, especially since it's a subject that both of you guys are so passionate about. Urban, how can people find you on the internet?
My channel is Urban the Myth. If you search Gakko Garashi Analysis, I'm one. On Twitter, I named it annoyingly, but it's urban_TEH
Yeah,
underscore myth.
Urban to Myth.
Why did I do that? All right, yeah.
It's good. It's very, very snazzy. Very.
It is
MySpace.
very snazzy. Speaking of snazzy, if people want to follow the snazzy hiding in public, how can they find your work and your profile and your Animal Crossing streams?
Well, yeah, you just search hiding in public onto YouTube, and I should be the first result to come up. Some of my videos and stuff. On Twitch, I'm hiding Kun, like Chan Kun Sama. It's a little cringe, but I can't change it now. So
Yeah, that's how I feel about my name. Like, I want to
Locked
drop Fate at this point, but like I kind of can't.
in. Whoa, you're dropping Fate? You didn't watch it?
Like
You didn't finish Fate?
Apocrypha and Fate last encore have not done.
Fate
I'm
Extra
not-
Last Encore is a cute girls doing post-apocalyptic things show.
Umu indeed, Sinris.
So's Grand Order. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, Grand Order is. That's actually that's a
the
good point.
entire Fate series just cute girls doing cute things in the post-apocalyptic.
I mean, Fate Grand Order literally takes place after the incineration of humanity. You can't get
okay.
more post-apocalyptic than
The
that.
incineration of human history.
Can you get more
history,
cute girls than
They
that?
didn't
though?
kill all the people in the world. They killed all the people who have ever lived.
This is true.
Jesus Christ.
It's Jason Bourne. And it's also our friends over at Sentai Filmworks and High Dive. Thank you again so much to them for sponsoring this series of podcasts and so many of our other podcasts. Again, if you want to watch Humanity Has Declined, School Alive, Girls Last Tour, you can find all those anime and more on High Dive. And you can get the box sets over at Sentai Filmworks. But if you just want to watch them like tonight, you can go to highdive.com/LP/RA2020 to get started on your free 1-month trial for this amazing anime streaming service that's available on iOS and Android, on the Xbox, on the Roku, and of course at highdive.com. Sign up today to get started on your free trial. I've been Fate Steel Taylor. This has been the R Anime Podcast. You've been watching it on our YouTube channel, so subscribe to that. If for some reason you came across it and you didn't know it, we really appreciate it. You can also find us on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, on Podbean, literally wherever podcasts are available. There we are as well. Sinris, you don't have a Twitter.
Nope.
Shame on you. But you do
Social
have
media is a pox on society.
But you do have a Fate podcast. Speaking of Fate, that's
do.
called The Magic Circuit.
Called the Magic Circuit, which we haven't done an episode for in many moons at this point, but that's because life's been really weird and hard lately, and we are hoping to step that back up. So yeah, we've got the dash magic dash circuit on Twitter. You can check out our backlog. I think we had about like 20 episodes
Nice.
or so. So you can check some of those out, and if you like them, there will be more soon. TM.
And I'm on one of them, so you
Yes,
know that's
Tay is
the
on one of
worst
them.
episode. So
Yeah.
skip that one, get to the other ones. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, whether it was live, whether it's on VOD. Someone in chat pointed out the description doesn't have the Discord link yet, but it will later, you doofus. Thanks so much, guys. Remember to self-isolate, quarantine, stay safe, wash your hands, social distance, watch anime on High Dive. Thank you guys so much and have a good night.
Good night.